Hey, Catherine Kyle here from greenthickies.com, and today is more of a personal story update because I have something that I wanted to share with you, something personal, that I finally have a diagnosis. Because if you have been following me for a while, then you will know that I've been very sick for the last few months and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I finally found out. So I am so happy to finally find out what's wrong with me, because I don't know whether you've ever experienced anything like this, but this has happened to me so many times. In fact, this has been happening to me since I've been 13 years old. I first went to the doctor when I was 13 years old, and I was getting agonizing stomach cramps after every single meal, and he had like a little prod around and he said, "Oh, I think you're fine." And then, obviously they didn't take me seriously because I was a child. Throughout my teens, I kept going back time and time again. My symptoms kept getting worse and worse, and they started doing blood tests. The blood tests would all come back fine. And they'd say, "Great, there's nothing wrong with you. You're in great health. Carry on doing what you're doing. You're perfectly well." And I didn't feel perfectly well. And I've never felt perfectly well, truth be told. And I've had, I've had all the kind of digestive tests, the colonoscopy, the endoscopy, all those horrendous tests. And they all came back fine. And then they diagnosed me with IBS. So I had this IBS, didn't know what was wrong with me. So lived with that, and then my health just kept getting worse and worse, to the point where I was throwing up every morning, and they said, "Oh, you must have a stomach bug, maybe it's another stomach bug." And, then after, so many health problems, but after I got married, I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I couldn't work anymore. I couldn't move. Nothing I was doing was working. Went back to the doctor in tears because I had no life, and he said, "Oh, you're depressed. Let's give you antidepressants," which I didn't take because I knew myself that it was my physical health causing me to feel really down. And I knew that if I could restore my physical health, then I would feel happier again. And that's happened twice before. I've had chronic fatigue syndrome. Well, this is the third time I've had chronic fatigue syndrome. The last two times I've just taken it upon myself to just completely overhaul my diet, go on a very, very strict diet, and it has worked both times, but I still did not get to the root of the problem. I didn't know what caused it in the first place. I didn't know how to prevent it coming back, and because I didn't know how to prevent it coming back, then guess what? It comes back again because I still have that underlying health problem that if you know your body and you listen to your body, then you know when there is something wrong with you that is not addressed. And doctors telling you that you're fine and blood tests telling you that you're fine is so frustrating when you know that there is a problem. So this time I thought, right, I'm determined to get to the root of the problem. I am not having my life put on hold every few years when I get chronic fatigue syndrome again, because it's debilitating and it stops me doing anything. It stops me living. It's placing a massive stress on my family. I've got young kids to look after, and I am just not going to do this anymore. So this time I went to a naturopath, and I decided, I want some more help with this. I'm not just going to change my diet and then hope for the best. Yes, it'll go away and then it might come back again. So I went to the naturopath, and she said, "Go back to the doctor and get some more blood tests, but this time ask for a copy of the blood tests and we will have a look at them together." So that's what I did, and I spoke to the doctor on the phone because my doctor doesn't even see you unless they think that it's something urgent. So I told him that I had chronic fatigue syndrome and I wanted some blood tests, and he said, "Fine, I don't need to see you, just book in for the blood test." So I told him what I wanted, and he also, and I'm so glad he did this, he also said, "Well, let's also test you for celiac disease at the same time." So I thought, good, as many things we can get tested for as possible, so that's good. So got the blood tests. About a week later, I phoned up and I said, "Are they all back?" And he said, "Yes, they're all back." So I went to get the blood tests and looked at them, and the doctor said, "I don't want to see you. All your blood tests are fine as usual. Don't need to see you. You're fine, perfectly happy. Go about your life," kind of thing. So I was waiting. I then actually went on holiday, so I had to wait to get back to see my naturopath. So went on holiday because it was already booked, and that wasn't the most sensible thing to do, because when you've got chronic fatigue syndrome, you can't really do anything at all. Well, it depends how severe it is, but mine's been very severe, and I've not really been able to do very much at all. Even kind of walking for 5 minutes is enough to just wipe me out for the rest of the day. So going on holiday to another country is a bit of a silly thing to do, but we'd already paid for it. I was thinking maybe the sunshine would do me good, because I don't get any sunshine here, and fresh air, because I'm kind of stuck in all the time, especially feeling ill. And if you don't feel like doing exercise and it's too cold to go outside, then you can sit outside and shiver in the cold, but you don't really feel like doing that. So I've not been getting any fresh air, no sunshine, so I thought it would do me good to go away. But it was really, really nice. I did get quite a few times when, thankfully, my dad came, he helped with the kids. My husband, bless him, did everything. Poor thing, really stressful for him with two young kids to look after and everything to do. So I did get a few times where I could sunbathe and just relax in the sun, and that was just heavenly. Just my body was just loving that sunshine. But the rest of the time it was very stressful. We had lots of stresses with the villa that we were staying in. I had loads of allergic reactions. I couldn't sleep, and I was just completely wiped out. I just felt worse than I'd ever felt. I couldn't stomach food. I was feeling sick all the time. I was just looking at food was making me feel sick. We had all these lovely healthy restaurants that we went to, and looking at this food most of the time. Some meals were okay, and others I was just feeling like throwing up, and I just couldn't force this food down. It was horrible. I could barely walk. I had to cling on to my husband. I felt dizzy, weak. I had low blood sugar, maybe possibly low blood pressure, I don't know, but I just felt like I was going to pass out all the time. I just felt awful, stomach cramps, kind of allergic type symptoms all the time, sneezing fits, scratching my whole face. It was just felt a lot worse on holiday. So after you're struggling with the flight home, I got back, and I was so thankful to be home in my own bed that does not give me allergic reactions, my own lovely house with my everything that's healthy and set up in a healthy way. So I was so happy to be home. And I got back, and there was this letter from the doctor saying, we've just had one more blood test result come back later than the other ones, and I need to see you. So I managed to persuade him to call me on the phone, because he was not going to see me for 2 weeks, and I was kind of desperate to know what is wrong with me. So I managed to persuade him to call me on the phone, and he said that your blood tests are showing that you have got celiac disease. And in case you don't know what celiac disease is, it is an autoimmune disease where if you eat gluten, usually from grains such as wheat and other grains as well, if you eat any products containing gluten, and they put gluten in pretty much everything now, most processed foods contain gluten. If you eat gluten, then your body starts attacking itself, and to get to the point where you get diagnosed with celiac disease, then your small intestine, there's these little things that poke up, I think they're called villi, and what they do is they filter out the nutrients, and they push out the nutrients into the body, and everything else they filter down, and that comes out as waste. So they're very essential for absorbing the nutrients into your body. But when you've got enough antibodies to be diagnosed with celiac disease, it means that all the villi have completely collapsed, or they're destroyed, so they're like this, so they no longer push up the nutrients into your body. So basically you're not absorbing the nutrients from food anymore, and that can cause malnutrition, and you also have this allergic response reaction to the gluten that you're eating, which makes you really, really sick. And of course I was eating gluten on holiday, because it's very, very difficult to avoid gluten when you're out and about. And most of the time I don't eat gluten at home, I don't cook with it, but if I go to restaurants, then sometimes I treat myself, although it's not a treat to eat gluten, because I don't think it's good for anybody to eat gluten. So I've been eating gluten probably about once a week when I go to a restaurant, and probably some cross-contamination in my own home from other products like potentially oats that I had been eating once a week as well. So I have been eating gluten regularly, but on holiday I ate it probably like every couple of days, which probably explained why I was getting these awful symptoms, this, feeling sick and allergic reactions all the time, weak and dizzy, and it was just horrendous. So finally I have got an explanation as to why I've been so sick. And this is, like I said, I started noticing it when I was 13, but supposedly I've had it all my life. I've always been celiac, and it's taken I've just had a birthday, so I'm now 38. It's taken 38 years for me to be diagnosed, which is a pretty long time really when you're kind of suffering with health problems. And supposedly for most people it goes completely undetected, and most people might even go their whole lives without even getting diagnosed for celiac disease, because doctors as standard don't really test for it. So I'm so thankful and feel so lucky that finally I do have a diagnosis. And there couldn't be a better diagnosis. I knew there was something wrong with me, and I was terrified, because when you know that there's something wrong with you and you can't move, you just fear the worst. And this, to me, is the best diagnosis I could have had, because there isn't any medication that I can take, because I do not like taking medication, because I know that in time it just makes you worse, and then you need more medication. It doesn't heal the body. So I'm so happy that I don't have to take any medication, and the only prescription is a healthy diet, a gluten-free healthy diet. So that is exactly what I am doing. So I'm very, very happy about that. So I've been on this new gluten-free healthy diet for a week now, and I am on I'll tell you about my new diet in a minute, but I also yesterday went back to the naturopath, and I took my blood test results to her, because the doctor said, there was nothing else in my test he wanted to discuss. It was only the celiac, and they're referring me to the clinic, so I'll discuss that more with them in the future there. But my naturopath had a look at my results, and she has also diagnosed me with 2 more things, because she said that celiac disease doesn't really come in isolation. It usually comes with other things, other problems as well, because the body is battling with this autoimmune disease as well. So I have 2 other problems. I have adrenal fatigue, and that's, probably similar to the chronic fatigue, but basically my body's just burned out. I just have no energy whatsoever. So, chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue. Chronic fatigue is when they don't know what's wrong with you, and adrenal fatigue is when your adrenals have burned out because you've stressed them out too much, and you could have been stressed out with various different things, with a diet that's not agreeing with you, with just emotional stress, with working out too hard at the gym and not sleeping. So many ways you can stress your body out, and I probably did all of them at the start of this year. So I burned my body out, and my adrenals are completely shot. So I've got adrenal fatigue, and I also have a underactive thyroid, which I have always suspected, because I've got all the symptoms of underactive thyroid and always have done. So I'm very, very glad that somebody has actually taken this seriously. And my naturopath did confirm that the Thyroid UK charity would diagnosed me as underactive thyroid, that if I lived in America I would get diagnosed with underactive thyroid. 10 years ago in the UK I would have got diagnosed with underactive thyroid, but now supposedly because there's so many people with underactive thyroid, it's affecting far too many people, and the NHS, our National Health Service in the UK, can't keep up with all these people that have got an underactive thyroid. They decided that they were going to shorten the range, so that it meant that less people got diagnosed with underactive thyroid. Only people with very severe underactive thyroid get diagnosed now. So because mine is on the borderline, I don't fit into their category, but I do still have underactive thyroid, and that will need to be addressed. But my naturopath said, first of all, you just need to stick with this new healing diet that I'm on, and stay with that for another 3 weeks, so like a month in total, before we even start looking at anything else, because my body's not absorbing nutrients. There's no point in me taking any supplements because my body's not absorbing them. So I'm just taking multivitamin, and that's all I'm taking. I'm not taking anything else, just my new diet. And she said within a few weeks, hopefully you'll start to feel a little bit better, and then we can start looking at these other health problems that you've got. So that that's what I'm doing. So the new diet that I am on is very similar to the Leaf System meal plans. If only I had been sticking with the Leaf System 100%, I wouldn't have had the flare-ups from eating gluten and total body crashes from eating gluten that I've had. So I really wish I had have stuck to the Leaf System 100%. But you know how life is. You want to go out to restaurants, you want to treat yourself, and that's exactly what I was doing. So now I'm paying the price, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to go to restaurants and ask for healthy gluten-free meals. But right now I'm only cooking at home because I can control it 100% until I get well again, and that's my first priority, is to get well. So my new diet is very similar to the Leaf System, but it's slightly more strict and slightly, I've changed the macronutrients slightly to try something a little bit different. And I'm going to make a new video about my diet, but basically what I'll talk about it more in other videos, but I am eating the same types of food still. These are the types of foods that I'm eating, only these and nothing else. I'm still eating an abundance of leafy greens. I don't see any day that will go by that I will stop eating leafy greens, because they're so good for us. They are essential for nutrients. I'm eating, I have actually changed the amount of fruit I'm eating. I'm not eating really sweet fruit anymore. I'm just eating berries at the moment because my blood sugar levels are crazy. Even though I'm not eating any sugar, my blood sugar levels are all over the place. If I get hungry, I have to eat immediately, otherwise I feel weak and shaky, and that's just, the naturopath says it's because my cortisol levels are all over the place, and even though I'm not eating sugar, my body's still going crazy. So I'm limiting my sugar. I'm eating lots of coconut. I'm eating lots of healthy fat. I'm being very particular about where I get my fat from. I'm eating meat, and only grass-fed, pasture-raised, healthy meats. I'm eating eggs only from farm, pasture-raised egg from pasture-raised chickens that are outdoors and farm. And I'm eating loads of veggies, and these veggies are some of them are organic, some of them I can't get organic, but I'm making sure that the Dirty Dozen, and you can Google Dirty Dozen, that I'm not eating any veggies from the Dirty Dozen because they are heavily sprayed with pesticides. So I'm being very careful about my diet, and I am learning so much. I'm reading all these books about this new way of eating that I'm going to stay on and see if I can heal my body much more quickly than I have done previously. I think the first time I had chronic fatigue syndrome, within 3 months, I went on the raw food diet that time, and within 3 months I was healed enough to do very vigorous workouts, although I'm not going to be doing that this time because I do not want to stress my body out. So I'm being very careful. So it took me 3 months the first time from being on a very strict diet. Second time I had chronic fatigue, I was on a very strict paleo diet for 6 months, and I didn't notice a difference until my kids went into full-time childcare and my stress levels went down massively, and I started drinking green Thickies a day because I had not been drinking my green Thickies. So I'd been on a healthy, strict, like gluten-free, healthy, real food diet for about 7 months before I healed the second time. So I really want to heal faster this time. I do not want to wait even 3 months. I'm very impatient, and I shouldn't be impatient because I know it's going to take time for my body to heal. I know that my body, these villi has to grow back again, my digestion has to heal, and that all takes time. But I want to give my body a fighting chance, and I don't want to do anything that's going to slow down my progress. I want to do everything that's going to speed up my progress. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also doing some meditation, having Epsom salt baths in the night time, trying to sweat out some toxins, and just trying to chill out, relax, and think positive thoughts. And that's pretty much it, I think, although I'll probably share some more things in the future that I've been doing that I've forgotten about. And I'll tell you more about my diet in another video, but if you are impatient to see exactly what diet I am doing, then you can go to greenthickies.com/start keto, and there'll be a link somewhere around here, somewhere around the video, that you can click on to go and check it out, the exact diet I'm doing. And in the meantime, if you want to join us in the Leaf System and eat healthy, unprocessed, real food, then you can go to greenthickies.com/leaf system and check that out there and join us in there as well. And that's it for today. So I will give you another video and let you know all about my diet and everything else I've been doing, because I have learned so much when I've been sick. I've just been reading and trying things out, experimenting, and I've got so much to share with you. So take care, stay well, and see you soon. Bye!